And we're recording. Hello everyone, this is the Ninja DC joining again for another, actually not react this time, but a discussion video on the next episode of our podcast. This time, join me again. Well, now I was going to jump straight into introduction this time. Try to shift that later, but we'll just go with it. Join me again by random Skype order is Day.
Oh, hey everybody, how are you doing? Hope you're doing great. We're going to have fun discussions here, and I hope everything is going good. What more else is there to say? I missed my second, and that's all. Next. Whee!
All right, and then next up is actually second.
Hi there. Well, Day and I have been separated from talking to each other for 30 seconds here ever since DC started the intro, so as you can see, she's missing me already. But I'm here again now. So, from a critic first and a fan second, here comes the second opinion. About a couple of things, in fact, as it seems.
Then next up, Carlos.
Gunmetal Gator here, Vanguard card player extraordinaire, alongside with animation critic. I'm here to enjoy all forms of mediums here. As long as you give me something and a motivation to watch it, I'll go ahead and check it out.
All right, and then I guess myself, which I already introduced myself, I guess. So I guess let's talk about how our week's been going, or 2 weeks.
Boy, 2 weeks in the world of geekdom and news. Well, let's see. I finally saw all the 2020 Best Animated Feature nominations, except that one that nobody saw. I can't even remember what its name was, but yeah, Shaun the Sheep, Onward, Wolfwalkers, Soul. Took me a while to catch up with those last two, actually, but hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
And Wolfwalkers, well, I guess depends on which side of me you want commenting on it. Me that just loves animated movies say that thank God this director is around. This is a great new flavor of animation to bring to the table. Great new MO. Really like this series. I think he kind of topped himself, although full disclosure, I do still have to see Song of the Sea, so maybe it's always possible that that's actually the best one. But yeah, Wolfwalkers brought back a lot of what he did in Secret of the Kells, and I think refined it and also made it more broadly appealing, which is not necessarily of inherently more merit, but it's gonna make it a lot easier for a lot of people to like your movies. So there's that.
Yeah, I think I brought it up before, but yeah, what I like about Wolfwalkers compared to the Irish folklore trilogy they had with Secret of the Kells, Song of the Sea, and Wolfwalkers. This is by far the most digestible story and more traditional, mainstream and less art house, and you can feel it.
Yeah, and yet it doesn't relinquish a lot of the personal touches, a lot of what this guy wanted to say and do with this kind of lore and these kinds of opportunities to tell his story. So it's you could argue it's the best of both worlds. At very least, it's very appreciable new flavor, or new for this trilogy, and familiar by other leagues. And that actually brings me to the other side here, me who really likes debating favorite things, favorite animated movies. In this case, says that it's cuter, easier, less challenging Princess Mononoke, and the better film won the Oscar. Which brings me to Flippin' Soul. I love Flippin' Soul a lot.
Me too.
I mean, I feel like the last three that are usually considered Pixar's heavy hitters, Pixar, we had some powerful material, we had something to say this time, with this, Inside Out, and Coco, they are all great, but yeah, Coco had to tell it through a lot of gimmicks and familiar storytelling. The old family wants to stick to the practical, boring thing because they just don't understand that devil's music or whatnot. It was a remix of that. And Inside Out was like as good as it was, and it did get like had a lot of powerful material there. It was all tied back to what is inherently a little bit of a gimmick that, like, okay, turning your internal factors, your internal machinations into these colorful, bouncy caricatures with their inner world that they can be cognizant of. And I mean, like Don Bluth said that if he made the movie, he probably would have just made it about the girl instead of making it things in her head that were telling her what to think. And when I heard him say that, I was like, come on, Don, you're one of my heroes. Did you really have to make yourself sound like this out-of-touch has-been? And then I saw Inside Out, and I was like, actually, yeah, maybe he has a point there.
But the thing is, it is about the girl, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
That's the whole point.
Yeah, well, like, when I saw the trailers for Inside Out, I was like, okay, so they're just gonna try to make you just, like, love this kid. Just everything she cares about and worries about and is afraid of and, is struggling with. And, I mean, they try to put that there on the table, but it really does kind of feel like it's coming more from Joy than it's coming from Riley. Like, everything, like, Riley ends up being in each of the scenes, kind of the measuring stick for whatever they just showed us is happening inside her head, which, and not that Joy's a bad character or sadness or all that, and that they don't pull off some pretty powerful scenes, but I feel like, when it kind of reaches that melding point, like, okay, the point is that this is supposed to be some very important, delicate, personal things to this human being, it does kind of have to hit its head on that disconnect a little bit. For lack of a better way to explain that, Soul feels like one of the jazz songs it's praising, one of the smooth, fluid, going from this really complex, escalating, expansive picture of just, emotions and wants and needs and passions and, directions you wouldn't expect and, like, adding and, building on tones and, like ways that are complex and you wouldn't have seen it going to, but just gel so well. And, and then a third act that might have, knocked me over harder than in anything this side of Kiki's Delivery Service, third act in animation, but, that's another story. So, yeah, I think Soul is actually going to be one of my new favorite Pixar movies. And this is one of the rare times I was a little bit grateful for Oscar pretentiousness, where they just give it to the thing that sounds like it deserves it on the surface, because this time I'd say, okay, yeah, don't outsmart yourself. It actually does. First time I've been, grateful for them that way since WALL-E, where the Annie Awards, and I haven't heard anyone care about the Annie Awards being a thing since, but yeah, they decided they were, not gonna constantly push these Pixar monopolists or whatever. They were gonna give Kung Fu Panda all the Best Animated Movie awards, and I'm like, okay, I can appreciate the sentiment, but no, Kung Fu Panda does not have much over WALL-E. Oh, and also, you've heard me go on about Farmageddon before. I'm not even sure Wolfwalkers is the clear winner over Shaun of the Sheep. Farmageddon, to be honest, that's another animator who doesn't compromise, who really wants to bring his own unique brand, his own unique tone and flavor and characters to the table. And ironically, Farmageddon was also a little more like his compromise, his broader appeals, more appreciable, but I guess Wolfwalkers had a better balance of that and was just more readily a lot more fun, so I guess maybe I'll side with Wolfwalkers. Honestly, Wolfwalkers had me completely spellbound for a while. I think it kind of peaked on that running with the wolves animated sequence, and then the rest was about what you'd expect. And that's all I've got about the best animated features. I'll let that be my contribution this time around.
Yeah, that's one thing is like, I wouldn't say Pixar is on an upbeat because they're sort of schizophrenic right now still because like, yes, they have Soul and I have very, very high hopes for Luca. But at the same time, they have like Toy Story 4, which is sort of average. And then there's that fantasy, I forget whatever fantasy one they had
Onward.
earlier in the year. Onward.
Yeah, I missed talking about that. Like that's Pixar. I mean, that's not like Cars Pixar where it's like, okay, they had to do something that was a little lighter and just to sell stuff. Like that is Pixar, but I feel like it's by that standard one of the weaker true Pixar movies. Yeah.
But like you know, it's sort of schizophrenic. So like how they go from like a very sort of generic like Onward, I swear, is a DreamWorks film that somehow snuck its way into Pixar. And I don't mean to insult that because I actually do like I miss DreamWorks having a lot more films than they do currently.
Shit.
But yeah, like Onward is just sort of like it exists. And then Toy Story 4 was just sort of like possibly shouldn't have existed, but not bad. Just sort of like it takes away the happy ending.
Well,
from 3.
Granted, you're right about Pixar being schizophrenic. I picked out it's like the 3 I did because I was.
And also, yeah, but going back to that, yeah,
Trying
Coco was freaking amazing.
I was trying to compare Soul like in the lineup of Pixar's heavy hitters there, where they clearly had the material they were really excited for, they also have had Onward and after not being able to miss in the 2010s, they've been real back not the 2010s, not being able to miss in the aughts. They have been real back and forth in the 2010s from like okay to great.
Let me see
Good
who's that.
Dinosaur, anything with cars in the title, pretty much.
Wait, let me see.
Brave was pretty early this decade, but it was still very much within the trend.
Pixar. I'm trying to who I'm thinking of.
I will say for Toy Story 4, though, I'm in the latter crowd with that, which the people who like Toy Story 4 are the ones who do not consider Toy Story 3 their favorite.
Well, then I am guilty of that because I like it I like 4 better than 3. Sorry.
Same. Like 3, there's the people who, 2 crowds, the people who get starry-eyed at the end of 3 and like, that could not have ended any more beautifully, and the people who are like, look, I don't care how nostalgic I am for these things, a 17-year-old boy is not going to look into the eyes of his childhood toy and give a soliloquy to it talking like he basically knows it's alive, and like, I felt like they could have.
No, I actually like that.
Faded out a little
part,
more
but
seamlessly on that part.
The reason why I like 4 more than I like 3 is like I think there's better characters, including the fork, sport fork. I really like that.
Rewatching 4, it's like you realize it's maybe more disjointed than the other ones, but it also, like, if you, like, 3 rounds out the character arc of Andy, 4 rounds out the character arc of Woody.
Yeah.
And it, like, kind of depends on what you see this as the story
everybody,
of
actually.
a kid's childhood, like, starting, quote-unquote, and ending, and these toys who were there wanting to be a part of that, or whether you see it as the story of Woody trying to, figure out what his place is and should be, and,
That's... Alright, I'm sorry as you were in silence, I was trying to get the right name right, which I think part of the reason that, like, also we've seen not just, like, the sort of weird thing that happened with Pixar, like, where they qualities drop, but also, like, how I think part of the reason why, again, Disney had to basically up jump is when Disney acquired them, they made John Lasseter in charge of both of them. So they probably for a while shifted away attention to Disney Studios because, to be frank, they needed help more. But then more recently, like more recently, air quotes, because it's still a few years old, they sort of got rid of him, like John Lasseter, because of sexual harassment allegations. Which, to make it clear, he's not freaking whatever, I forget his name. That's that one.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, he's not a fucking Weinstein. The whole thing is like he's basically a very big hugger and all that, and sort of like that sort of kind of thing, which is inappropriate. And then Disney just sort of like, well, let's just get rid of him with that. And then now he's doing his own thing. But yeah, John. Yeah, so which is probably a mistake because after he left, the quality has not been as good. And John Lasseter is a genius. He's one who's really responsible for making Pixar what Pixar was. He's also the one who also got Disney, I think, involved with Ghibli films for a while. So I'm really curious about his next projects. Anyway, so who's up next with what they've been up to?
Well, like with me, it's more the same as second. I watched Soul and Wolfwalkers. I think they're both amazing. I think like Soul is something that I have never seen before. It's amazing, and it hit hard. Wolfwalkers, of course, I love wolves, so automatically that makes it so much better. And it's just a whole bunch of things. Oh, I played again. I'm streaming Final Fantasy X, and I'm streaming Final Fantasy 9, and now also Honeypop on Saturdays. So if you want to come and watch me play a weird game where I have to get in the pants of digital women, then yeah, fine.
We're such a family-friendly podcast.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how else to explain it. It's puzzle stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, like your Twitch fans just decided suddenly they really wanted you to see you play this game.
Like, I don't know who gave it to me. I have seen Markiplier play it, and I seen ANY play it, and I have an inkling about like who gave it to me, right? So, but yeah, I actually think it's funny. It's actually kind of addictive, even though I don't want the prizes. But
it's Candy Crush meets teenage anime porn.
Yeah. But it's fun though. Oh, and I watched I watched the last episode of Castlevania, actually, now that we were talking about, and I watched the full season or all of the seasons of The Good Place, which I would recommend too. It's an amazing series. The end actually got me to cry, but I will say, like, you have to either you love it or you hate it. So it's a little bit of like, can you stomach or not stomach, but can you get these characters? Do you know enough about these characters? And I will say that there comes to a point where it's a little like, okay, this seems a little rushed. But elsewise, I will recommend it for anybody that is wanting a good series to watch, just for having fun. There's a lot of fun things in it. So yeah, that I would recommend most definitely. And what I'm supposed to discuss of who's the king of animation, or is that after all of this?
No, that's after all that. We're not really king of animation, just sort of like talking about Netflix
building up to a certain company that might be the king of animation now, but that's just after this.
Okay, so I guess that was that, and I can't wait to, just do my thing. Oh yeah, I also been starting on drawing again. So hopefully in the future I will be making my 3 drawings a day again. So next. Woo! Go
I
Gator.
also watched the last animated film ever of Ralph Bakshi.
Oh yeah.
Probably bring that up.
Oh, and we watched To All the Boys I Loved.
That's not geeky. That's
Oh,
sappy.
come
That's
on,
something
it's
a sappy
sweet.
couple does when they're trying to have a
Oh,
nice cuddly night together.
Come on. Gator, you go.
Okay, but no, last animated film of Ralph Bakshi to be like everybody knows him, animated Lord of the Rings, Fritz the Cat, that guy. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, well, like just a couple of years ago, 2015, after a good 15-ish years out of the industry, over 30 since he made his last. No, I was right the first time. Over 20 since he made his last movie.
Now you can go.
Okay.
I want to totally leave out Last Days of Coney Island, though, if that didn't get recorded, because that is something where people who watch our podcast hearing about it might actually matter ever so slightly.
But it didn't stop recording.
Yeah, I think it might not have stopped recording. Yeah, and this is information. I won't really see it much in the editing, but I think it just stopped recording when I jumped back in or something like that, which is weird.
Straight back to Gator.
So, all right. So, I have opinions on the finale for Castlevania. That's
Okay.
right. Castlevania is over.
Yep.
It ended with season 4.
I can weigh in on this because I just finished it.
Yeah, so right now, after what people might probably felt was like the dry part of season 3, which people were not feeling about like the multiple plot lines, in which only one
Hey
person
Carlos,
gets.
I want to put just to give you a heads up. This is going to be one of our news stories, so
Yeah, be quick. I'll
keep
be
your
quick.
initial thoughts here. Then when we get to the news story, that's where you can exclude.
Okay. Like initial thoughts. Okay. So, basically, after we have what happens like in season 3 with like the different storylines with Isaac raising an army of Nightwalkers, and then like Cypher and Trevor, both of them decide to not try to settle down, but instead go full throttle into Trevor's line of work, and Alucard just trying to isolate himself from like anyone because of like the bad experiences he has dealt with the twins. We get to Alucard basically finding himself welcoming an entire village of people who are looking for sanctuary and safety, thanks to the power of him. Him warming up perhaps to a new woman in his life. Then Cypher is dealing with the after effects of living Trevor's life, which involves cursing. Oh gosh, oh golly gee, no. And then both Cypher and Alucard both realize that they're transforming into Belmont himself, and it's like, no, we gotta do something to fix this. And it all leads up into like this big climactic battle where Isaac and the Nightwalkers decide to do battle against Hector and Carmilla in order to try to quell all the ends about like the vampires and such, what they tried to do to them. Which leads up to like an interesting relationship between Hector and not Carmilla, Lucia, like the other vampire that's an ambassador, in which it becomes sort of like a one-on-one relationship of like, okay, I know I have you imprisoned by my finger and such, but I need someone to talk to because the diplomacy is not even on the table anymore since we're going full throttle into war and such. and and Hector slowly comforts her like, oh, while all this is going on. And after an amazing fight scene where Isaac with like his Nightwalker demons like basically easily defend himself against Carmilla, and even though Carmilla tries to blow herself up and take Isaac along with him, boom, nope. That demon that like was there protecting him all the time, where's the biggest MVP of that match? Like seriously, he deserves a raise for all of his efforts there. And then, legitimately, we get like Saint Germain, a character who gets introduced in season 3. He becomes like the background main antagonist as he's trying to get to like his love through the corridors like of the infinite doorways by trying to resurrect Dracula, but also Alucard's mom as well, and trying to make an abomination of alchemy, trying to fuse together a man and woman's soul together in order to basically try to get the rhombus, a jewel that grants him the ability to have full control over the corridor of infinite doorways, so that he'll be able to find his loved one once again. So that's why he's doing all of this stuff. We get some vampire incidental background characters helping alongside Saint Germain, and all the plot lines converge at the end, in which Belmont, alongside with Cypher and Alucard, are dueling it out in Dracula's castle once again, trying to stop Saint Germain. Where, plot twist, the true antagonist reveals himself. It is not Dracula. It is not even a vampire. It's Death.
Mm-hmm.
Death from the video games has come and cursing out a storm, showing like how tired he is of everything and wanting to bring back Dracula, but in the most insane state possible, so he can willingly destroy all the human lives as possible, just so he can feed on all their souls.
Yay!
It leads to a climactic battle in which all seems lost for like Belmont as he seemingly gives up his life, only for the story to end in the most heartwarming way possible, ending the series in one of the lightest tones possible, and a village is developing around Dracula's castle, well, now Alucard's castle, and decide to name the village Belmont.
Yay!
So that is Castlevania. Oh boy. There's like a lot of good stuff. It's like a lot of good stuff. Characters are shown like in a lot more rationale, better than season 3, in which we're not just dilly dallying for like a good half of it, like in the middle. You know, it feels like everything accumulates itself to a point of like these characters are healing and they're honestly smiling at the end, not just being like we fought a hard fought battle, but why aren't we still happy? I thought we did the thing to make ourselves happy.
Mm-hmm.
But there was still a problem going around. But when they finally defeat Death and all these crazy like religious fanatics who want to bring back Dracula because of all of Death's machinations, this time it really does feel like they squashed the problem full stop. And even if Isaac is still out there, he's just going about it in like a morally gray way, and no one even knows what's going on over there, or if they were going to tackle with it. So that's just how it goes. So yeah, I guess aside from that, I've heard some unfortunate news for the anime hemisphere as well. Moving on from Castlevania, Kenshi Minora has passed away on May 6th, 2021. Yeah. The man behind the epic seinen manga series Berserk passed away at age 54. And it's truly a sorrowful day for all fans of anime and manga alike.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows what's going to happen with the property of Berserk now since his passing. But all we know that even if the story ends right here and now, he left a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
He left a legacy.
It's going to be hard to follow up. It's going to be hard to take that over.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, like, we just want a good Berserk adaptation for the anime, you know? Do it like
but
JoJo.
We have that. We have that. The old Berserk is amazing.
Yeah, but people want stuff after the prologue. You know, good adaptation of stuff that happens after the prologue.
Or after he walks away and stuff like that.
Great. You know, so it's stuff like this that's like, I hope whatever anime committees are thinking maybe they finally put their foot where their mouth is and just do something correct for Kenshi for once, after the CGI abominations of 2016 and 2017.
Yeah, those were bad.
Yes. Seriously. You have to do him right even if he's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that brings it to DC's turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Castlevania season 4, which I think I finished all within 3 days. And then on top of that, let me see. Oh yeah, I've seen the Mortal. Let me see. I've seen the Mortal Kombat movie on a date,
Oh yeah,
and
that's right. I did that too.
Oh.
yeah, it was. I think we both agree that there's not very much plot in this movie, just very basically pushing for excuses for fight scenes.
Yeah.
Like it was rather blatant with that.
But I don't mind that actually. My
then-
nostalgia is too strong.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Is I was the more game informed one, and I didn't even get all the references, but it was they did incorporate a lot. I could tell. It's like, so yeah. And then on top of that, yeah. Besides Castlevania, I'm also working my way through. Let me pull up the title on Funimation's thing because there's no way I'm going to pronounce it correctly. No, not that one. What the heck is going on? Q.
While you're looking that up. Oh.
No.
Sorry.
Let me see. Because it should be in my most recently played ones, but freaking, oh, there it is. The title I'm working through is suppose a kid from the Last Dungeon boonies gets moved to a starter town.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely had to look up that name because, and also as people said, you can definitely tell it's a light novel adaptation. But yeah, I got most of the way through that. I stopped because basically the dub stopped, and if I start a series dubbed, I want to finish it dubbed. So I'm just trying to wait for that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that series. It's a very fun, lighthearted one. And
but can we at least agree with the new Mortal Kombat that the fight scenes is amazing and the chaos is awesome?
Like I said, the references they were to incorporate were good, and that includes the finisher moves.
Yes.
So, the million-dollar question. 90s Mortal Kombat movie versus this one.
New Mortal Kombat movie for me.
Even
as a hardcore fan and being playing the games a lot. And I know how much the first movie means to people, and it's funny and it's nice. But the new movie just checks off all of my nostalgia things. So
one vote for the new one.
I have not seen the old one, so I can't give the judge.
Okay, one abstain.
I've only seen like a moral compass video from the loading crew for the original movie, and have not seen the original.
We need to make a reaction to the first Mortal Kombat movie. Because Second haven't watched it, Eva and Jen have not watched it, and Ninja have not watched it. I'm the only one that haven't watched it.
Wait a minute. I just remembered. Okay, earlier I actually saw the loading crew actually watch maybe not all of the first movie, but all of the second movie.
But that doesn't count. It should be the first one. Annihilation is good too in my point of view, but one is just the thing you should watch.
I'm saying I catched up after missing out the first 5 to 10 minutes. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We could do like a whole movie watching thing in which I watch it
Yeah.
without like any sort of like
And we need Jen in here
Alright,
too
let's
for
not tell
that.
the audience about what we're gonna do to have a to kick it up, have a party on our own time.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But all right. But I guess that's sort of the main thing that's going on. Oh yeah, I also been playing. I can't remember if I brought up. I played some of your Eternal last time, but I think I brought that up. The game, which is hard. I'm also taking a break until they update it some more, just because I sort of reached the halfway point. But I've actually a collection I've been waiting to go on sale. Finally went on sale, so I bought the Jack collection for the original PS2 games. So I worked my way and finally beat Jack 1. I'm working my way through Jack 2 right now, and some things have not aged well.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a hard thing. Recently, I've been playing more. What is that? Crash Bandicoot, and it's just hard, especially because my controller. I think like there's some bugs or something. So yeah, it's just like no, there's no way I can do this. And also Spyro 2, sadly, because I was good at that, but when the controller's not working perfectly, then yeah, it's not amazing.
Yeah, I noticed like at least in Jack 1, which I don't think it's that the controller's not working, but I think just the port was not very good. Like I remember hearing people even complain about the port they had because it's an old PS4 one, which they port them. So sometimes when you double jump, I think it's basically the controller is sort of too sensitive now. So basically it doesn't like it registers. So like if you play a first-person shooter, if you press fire too fast, it doesn't register it because like that must be a glitch or something.
Yeah.
You know, sort of just to keep people from like cheating and having like an auto thing. I think that's sort of a thing because it doesn't register a lot of my double jumps. So it was quite frustrating with Jack 1, which is much more of a platformer. So it was just like, let me double jump. It's like, and I'm dead.
Old school games, how brutal you were.
And also in Jack 2 definitely has like I'm really noticing some of the save zone, like the save respawn areas when he dies. Like, yeah, some of them are really brutal. But yeah, anyway, I guess go on to, well, actually, before we go to the news, you had something to say, Carlos?
I only really have one more small thing to say about from like my own anime watching this the last 2 weeks, and that is Cardfight Vanguard Overdress has had one of the most impactful episodes for any card game anime to come out in recent memory. That being episode 6, in which we fully delve into the last main character, the one who plays Cater Sanctuary, Toya Ibata, and showcasing a realistic outlook on someone who has been drilled into his head so much about how trading card games is like basically like a waste of time, devaluing it so heavily, and just trying to have his focuses be only on studies as per Japanese household customs. And that has sort of created like a big contradiction within himself, in which he's trying to beat like the best player around in order for him to full front quit the card game and just go on and try to become a doctor full time. Despite the fact that in his mind he still loves the heck out of the card game and enjoys like doing all the deck strategies and such, and says to like his family when he was like struggling and such, like, it's not a game, like it's not just a game to him, like it's something like fulfilling to him. And he even feels that way when like his old grandmother is about to pass away, and is saying like and she tries to tell him like, you should do what you feel is right, and then he says, yeah, grandma, I'm gonna make sure I become a doctor, like getting the wrong message from her, like just thinking like he had to be focused like in his studies instead of like in his hobbies and such. So it's like moments like this that makes you think like not everyone's going to have an easy time convincing their loved ones that trading card games as a hobby or even something more than that is something viable or is something that could be like its own world, you know? They just think, you just spending a lot of money for like just these bunch of pieces of paper. What's
But
all
I gotta
good
cut
here?
loose, foot loose, kick off your Sunday. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks for the levity here. It's like moments like this that makes me think Vanguard still has it. It understands like parts about like being a slice of life and trying to not shy away from realistic topics such as these.
Mhm.
And I hope you guys can like relate this back to your own lives and such, even if you don't watch the show, about the morals that this carries.
Yeah.
Try to let them know how much you care about like your hobby. Try to show how much you put your heart and soul into it. You
Mhm.
know?
But
Don't
sometimes your hobby can become your job.
This is sometimes true.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
So
like I said,
Mhm.
footloose.
But,
But
Yeah.
real life. Or not. Because it's a show. But more geeks are probably told not to be geeks than not to dance. Not that I know. We should probably move on now.
But yeah, going on to the news stories, which will be a mostly quick wrap up, just because you're right, much big news, entertainment news, and all that. I mean, there's big news, but sort of like big business news, which really no one here really cares about. No one, I guarantee, in the audience really cares much about. But first of which sort of boring news is, Discovery Channel is being sold to Discovery. I mean, got that round. Warner Brothers Media is being sold, well, not sold, merged, but basically sold to Discovery, which is apparently a lot bigger than I knew Discovery was.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been the other way around. How about that?
which,
Really?
yeah, we're still waiting for implications. Also, it's because Crunchyroll is still, that deal is actually still needs to be reviewed by courts. So I don't think it should affect that, but yeah, that's still going on. So yeah, more consolidation.
Well, I can only wait and see what that yields. That's one of those combinations I never would have thought I'd be hearing about.
Yeah, again, I think the big thing I got from this was like, wow, Discovery is a lot bigger than I thought.
Mm,
Eh,
gotcha.
Discovery
Um,
Channel. That's like, I don't know. In my mind, my nostalgic memory, whatever, that will always be the channel that you don't really go to, or like that is the boring nerd stuff channel, except they have a few things that you can't not watch.
Mhm.
Like Mythbusters, Croc Hunter, and I'm assuming I'm still on the right channel here.
I think Crocon was on more Animal Planet, which is part of Discovery, but
Did I merge those together in my mind? Yeah, they're part of each other.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they are in the same network. And then I think the other merger, let me see if it's been confirmed or if it's just rumors. Check this. All right,
Uh,
it's not been confirmed yet, but still in discussions. It's like that's one of those things which blurred, so I didn't write down which. But yeah, Amazon's is in talks to buy MGM. Um, so not merger yet, but a big acquisition, which we brought up Invincible, how Amazon's Prime thing. This is probably going to be adding to their sort of video service, which it's sort of an awkward limbo because it's sort of like they want a standalone, basically Netflix competitor, but they also want to have it combined with Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
And it's like that weird dance where it's like, yes, but it can't really do both.
The surge of streaming services.
Mhm.
And then I guess the other news stories is that, yeah, Castlevania Season 4 has officially ended. And even though this is going to be the end, Season 4 and also the series is over with this. However, there is going to apparently be some sort of spin-off in the near future because, well, when it's that successful, why not? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure they finalized what that spin-off is going to be, but yeah, it's going to happen soonish. Air quotes. But yeah, I guess it moves on to the transition to the other topic is like, yeah, Castlevania season 4 has ended. So we sort of brought this up earlier, but yeah, so we can discuss it again, which, yeah, this season was really awesome. Just felt like a nice, good payoff for the suffering of the last season.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I really like this ending. I was surprised about like how detailed they actually get into things, and of course the amazing fight scene that the Gator already talked about. But also the like I guess the characters is being more developed, or is that just me? It was a little weird, I think.
So, it just like it feels like everyone is like getting a bit more character building before
Yeah.
they start basically resolving it. Like basically like Cypher, for example, in the
Yeah.
very beginning, just
Well, okay, I'm happy it
boy.
wasn't just me, because I was just like, is this me, or what is happening here?
What is
Was a
happening?
weird
What
feeling.
is happening? And she's like complaining, like, if
Yeah.
only you did unlock me for my soul imprisonment, I would have gone this way. And I'm just like, you're suffering actively now instead of being petrified. Uh, that's
And
just
then
like,
I like how some people brought up, like, yeah, she still also holds a grudge that he was climbing all over her statue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Actually, I thought for a second that the statue would come alive, but then I was just like, nah, okay.
Cause I'm alive,
Been-
and so
been watching-
alive, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
the truth through my wise disguise. I'm alive.
Been watching too much, whatchamacallit, the weird things on TV, I guess.
Yeah,
Who
like,
knows
so,
what fake outs they're gonna go for these days, huh?
so
Mhm.
like, so basically, like right now for like Lenore, I want to talk about like for like Isaac's and like Hector's like meeting and what
Mhm.
ended up from there. My God, I am so glad Isaac went through that spiritual journey. They ended in the most peaceful way possible, and that's kudos. Like the two slaves, or basically like the two like pets for like Dracula to like raise to like basically help him with like his plot to like take over like the human world, have now become their own individuals. Even though Hector is still pining for like Lenora, but then Lenora decides to do the mature responsibility to be like, I am not going to be your slave any longer. I'll die on my own terms.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, Lenore, you deserve every right for that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Well,
least
Lenore was interesting because she very much was like Hector, like, or they really did parallel each other, where it's like they were very sort of childish in their approach. Like she was more manipulative and like confident in herself, I would say, but they basically sort of like they were looking for pets. Is this thing like, and it's like that, and it's like so they weren't really fit for this world. Like in the same way, I think it was brought up like last season and the one before, where like Hector really was sort of a child in heart. Like he always just wanted pets, and like he just didn't really get along, like understand people sort of well. And that's sort of, you could say, with Lenore,
Mhm.
especially how she warmed up to Hector more this season, where it's like, yeah, she said he was his pet and all that, but you could tell she did actually care about his opinion much more than like a pet.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so it's like one of those like complicated things. Like they're both sort of broken people, and it's, yeah. But yeah, I was not surprised by her action because like it was because like, yeah, she just, I couldn't stand being like trapped up, which was what Isaac would do, just because she is such a liability, even though technically her other sisters, air quotes, are still doing their own thing.
Mm. Oh, we should probably talk about Carmilla, honestly. Because seriously, her descent into just being like just spiteful completely, even though everything seemingly is going her way. It's like she's not satisfied. She just wants to lash out and do whatever, and losing on the reasons why her coven lived for so long, being given so
Yeah,
much more freedom and scale.
it sort of reminded me like how in Harley Quinn, in like I think especially seasons 1 and 2, but like one of the issues I have with Harley Quinn's character, but like it was basically addressed is for a while she didn't really have a motive. Her motive was basically to tear down other people who wronged her, air quotes, or like disrespect her, blah blah blah. Like basically to take away what they have, and just get rid of the system and all that chaos and blah blah. That sort of feel like what was it? Camilla's thing was like her more goal was is to basically take down these old crazy men, vampire, but that's sort of her goal. When basically she accomplished that goal as much as she could because there's really no old man vampire that's more relevant and influencing than Dracula. Well, once he's done, it's like literally what does she do? And she just tries to expand because she really didn't have a goal. Her goal was basically just to do that, and now I am recording again. Oh, and this is also jumping back in because Skype was acting weird.
What a
That is
revelation!
weird.
Skype sucks. Skype sucks. Okay, where were we?
All right.
We were at Castlevania.
Yeah, Skype.
Yeah, but we seem to be missing a Carlos here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
Back to
Don't
the
worry.
enthusiasm on Castlevania then.
Yeah. So we were just finishing up our talks about Carmilla and how like she became directionless and aimless at the very end, with her just exploding as a perfect resolution to her life and her ambitions. Oh God, I just made that. Oh God, I didn't intend that to actually be poetic like that. Jesus.
Oh, you just got that? I was supposed to say why.
Oh man. But okay, let's talk about for like one last thing for Castlevania. The way that they actually did twist villains correctly here.
Yes, I agree.
Let's talk about death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I like the way they handle it. I mean, I wish they would have maybe foreshadowed it slightly more, but I feel they did it enough to make it like a good twist. Like a good twist shouldn't really be completely out of left field, but it should be foreshadowed. I felt maybe one or two more pinches would have been perfect. Most like the best example I think is like what's the one villain's name before he went death?
I think it's like not Trevi. Let's see. I'm looking up the cast list right now to see his voice.
That's a good question. Who is the voice of
Death?
But
I'm looking it up.
Right.
Trigun?
Oh,
no,
okay.
Wait, no, not Trigun. Trigun was the other one. The other one
that
was in the catacombs. So Varney! It's Varney, everyone! Varney!
Yeah. But with Varney, my main issue with Varney is like I wish they would have sort of hinted more that he has more power than he lets on.
Yeah.
Because like the example of that is basically where it expands the one shield and then closes it. It's like that's the first like whoa he's not full shit. Which is a good foreshadowing of like what was going to happen with him. I wish they would have had one or two more moments like that in there. Not showing his full hand, but just show like there is something off about him. But like I would say that's just me nitpicking because they did foreshadow it enough where it didn't feel out of left field.
Yeah, like we show the statue, we show all the cultists, like
there's the cup, there's the blood cup.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so
like
it did feel out of left field, and I did like his personality when he also switched. It's just like Death still having a smart mouth.
Yes. He's tired of all the bullshit. He's just here just to do his plans. He's not one who can really impact negative massively like this. And he basically goes, do you know what's fucked up? Only humans can try to cross the threshold to go to hell and bring back residents from there. Don't you think that's just a little fucked up? And I'm just like, oh my god! You are just... If Death was like that, I'm sorry. That's just like the perfect representation. It's like he doesn't care about you. He's not sympathetic. He's not cursed. He's not classy. He just says it like it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think the best way I've heard it described is essentially he's lived long enough not to give shit, like to give any fucks about anyone. Like he's just like, it's like, I've been around here for eons, so I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, that's just how it is. So for Varney, aka Death, I wish Varney had a bit more of a stage presence before his costume change, but yeah, that's the way it goes. So I think we can now move on to second point of view now about
Oh wait, because we're still supposed. Our primary news thing is Netflix's rise here, which has other things besides Castlevania that pertains to it.
Yeah, that's the main topic we're moving on after this.
Okay, yeah. So Netflix rise, okay.
Well, you're saying that you want to move on to that after this as its whole separate thing?
Yeah, just sort of a quick topic, probably a little quicker because I'm not sure about how Skype is stable right now.
Okay, well, in that case, maybe Gator had the right idea then. The news story I wanted to nominate before this, Shrek just turned 20!
Yay!
And gets greeted by a review from The Guardian slamming it that was trending all day on Twitter a couple of days ago, I think.
I mean, Shrek, some of the spin-off things and later ones weren't that great, but like the first two movies I consider classics. The animation may not hold up, but like the story does.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the perspective of hindsight, I mean, there's always going to be like, okay, which of these qualities were or weren't what we thought they were at the time, or maybe even were better than we thought at the time. That's one thing. Purely that the trends have changed, which is what this Guardian article strikes me as mostly rooted in. Like, oh, there were so many crude and, quote-unquote savvy pop culture referencing movies after Shrek, and it got worn out. Like yeah, that's kind of how trends work. And I mean, I will say that of the long list of movies that wanted to be Shrek after Shrek, most of them weren't that good, but I mean, that's kind of why we remember, for starters, why we remember Shrek and not them so much, because it kind of still stands as a play-by-play of what they did wrong. I mean, they clearly wanted to cash in on, like, the most readily memorable parts there, the pop culture, the songs that were trending, the easiest stuff and most recognizable stuff to shove in the audience's face and put this onto their radar as something they should watch. But I mean, like, I feel like you go play by play of how most of them versus Shrek did it, and it comes across like a do and don't list. Like, Shrek himself was not supposed to be this quote unquote lovable loser Will Smith fish or something like that, who was just had so much attitude and was so cool that
he has Donkey for that.
Well, not even that. Well, Donkey was supposed to be so annoying he was funny, or he was supposed to annoy Shrek so much, and Shrek was supposed to kind of be asking for it because he was trying to be this standoffish loner. And yeah, that's kind of funny. He gets hit by the last thing in the world that will ever leave him alone. But yeah, I feel like everything that tried to be donkey was like, all right, you taught like they wanted to be, they were annoying because they were supposed to be so funny instead of the other way around. And but yeah, Shrek himself was supposed to be kind of this like rebellious boss who could stick it to the man anytime he wanted. Like the first 20 minutes of him or so in the movie are just like a bunch of tropes basically trying to bother him. Oh, hunt the ogre, make him feel bad like he's not wanted, don't leave him alone. And like instead of getting all glum about that, Shrek basically just like owns those guys every time they show up and then has a good laugh about it, and it's fun, right? And that is not the route a lot. Even the ones trying to be Shrek didn't go that route a lot. And I mean, it wasn't the pop culture referencing, it wasn't the edgy coolness, it was the rebelliousness that gave it kind of this sense of discovery. And then like, and even with the pop culture references, they were supposed to be kind of his weapon against these outdated tropes, like what Lord compensating for something wants to summon the big scary army that closes around you in the big ominous scene and forces you to go along with whatever the plot of the movie is going to be. What, jump into the nearest ring and go WWE on them, or the fairy tale opening with all its pretty music and its oh so quaint, self-important exposition starts up now, rip the page out of that, play Smash Mouth instead, just, and not even, like, and I mean, granted, say what you will about Smash Mouth, but that song, it, like, there's a reason we all remember which one it is. It's like, I think, still kind of the premier example I can think of just somebody who, like, what is the main character up to in that song? Basically just like rolling his eyes at the world. I don't know. How many early 2000s songs can you remember the lyrics to in that much detail even?
That's true.
Like, how much did that? Somebody once told me the world's gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fled to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for. Point your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if you don't go. You never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get your game on. Get paid. All right, that never understood what he was saying there. Only shooting stars make up my world.
All that the glitters is gold.
Okay.
Only shooting stars.
Right. It's a cool place, and the it gets colder. You button it up now.
I want to interrupt just because I do not want this to be taken down.
Copyrights.
Yeah.
All of the copyrights.
Yeah, like, okay, the pop culture memorability, just the sheer fun of, like, celebrating that was a part of it, but that was a very surface level part of it. There was a very rebellious, very fun, and very savvy knowing underneath it. Like, the moral of Shrek is, hey, why do quote-unquote relatable protagonists always have to come out pretty or rich or famous or something to be successes? Like Beauty and the Beast, I think, was the go-to for a lot of people when they said, well, Shrek wasn't that original. We had ugly people can be likable, but okay, you're a success at the end because you ended up pretty and redeemed and stuff. It's like, all right, no, why is just, layman stuff not enough? Why is honest to God yourself, as you've been the whole time we've known you, somehow wrong? Like, the real, like, I don't know, it kind of was that lightning in a bottle that a lot of movies spent a long time trying to recapture without getting it, which kind of, in my opinion at least, makes it continue to be sort of special.
And it is a okay movie, yeah. So, hats off to that.
Good.
All right. But I guess moving on to the main topic now, which is with Castlevania Season 4 ending, I feel this is a good time to at least just briefly discuss that, like, Netflix has become a big player in animation, which they're also expanding creating new studios, so they're going to continue to be a big player. And this goes back to those who've been listening to our racks for a while. Like, this goes back to their original shows, like their reboot of Thundercats.
A reboot of something.
No, what's the Thunder? uh,
Thundercats?
Voltron.
Oh,
Voltron.
Voltron.
Oh,
Well, how
Yeah,
could you?
they
How could we
rebooted
forget about
Voltron, which is on their
How
Netflix
could,
thing, which they did. And then they have other original
how
shows
could you
like
forget
Dragon
Voltron?
Prince, BoJack
There's
Horseman,
just
which
been
is
so many things.
there's BoJack Horseman. There's
Mm.
Troll Hunter. There's been gosh, there's a laundry list of like shows like Castlevania, probably their most praised one. Then there's most other recent big one, which was their Blood of Zeus. So they've been putting out
Oh,
a whole
that's good.
yeah, like a bunch of like very high quality, often like
Hmm.
high quality, but also sort of more. I wouldn't say just adult oriented stuff because I'm finding out with my niece that they also have a lot of kids programming too on Netflix, like
Hmm.
young kids. But like they're really going deep into animation of across a different spectrum of like both age targets and also the type of shows. Like
That's
Castlevania and BoJack are both adult oriented shows on complete opposite spectrums. Um,
hmm.
so
But
yeah, they're
and then we have stuff like The Good Place, where it's like, I don't know if I would recommend this for children, but I actually think you could watch this if you're like 15 plus. Yeah. Sorry, that was a weird segue.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, even they're trying to start like a franchise with a mascot in Aloe, the alligator boy.
Oh
They
yeah.
said it themselves. They literally gonna make a franchise out of that guy. I seriously can't wait. It's
Yeah.
just gonna be like, finally, an alligator gets to be a mascot for something that's not just a clothing brand. Thank you. Thank you.
I actually have a alligator from when I was young from the clothing brand as a teddy, and it is as big as me.
Mm, that was so precious. I need to see a picture of that
Oh, okay.
afterwards.
good old Big Daddy alligator.
Yes.
Mm, alligators, crocodiles, doesn't matter. They're maybe the fiercest creatures. They could be the most kindest of parents possible.
Yeah, the only thing with my teddy doesn't have teeth.
Hmm.
So he's like the giant version of Gummy.
Hmm.
Yes, legitimately.
He's
Season
Gummy's
9
dad.
epilogue. Season 9 epilogue Gummy.
Yeah.
Thanks to the time skip.
No, he's Gummy's dad. That's what's it?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
let's see. But yeah, and then the animated Netflix movies too, that just like from well, I mean, they're featuring a lot of like, major studio animated movies, but I think they're largely responsible for getting a lot of like smaller projects off the ground animation wise. Like, heck, when I first started out as the Second Opinion one, like I was blogging and not making videos, and one of my first projects was actually about cult movies, right? Indie stuff, like how even a Versus series comparing it to similar mainstream stuff, just trying to really appreciate how, off the beaten path, there are a lot of groups trying to not even necessarily for the big success, just make what they want to make, see what they can explore, bring like go just try to gain some traction on sheer talent and sheer and purely an outlet to feature visions and talented. So Second Opinion from that era would have really been all over this as an awesome feature that may Netflix somehow always last indefinitely as a way for these little lesser known talents to get their visions made, to bring them to the world and give a relatively wide audience a chance to see it and maybe decide that that's something they want to look at and get the less seen but no less good side of animation some publicity, some recognition that it deserves. and somehow never then, like, oh yeah, now we turn it into the same groups now feature it as major successes. May it always be. May that corner of Netflix always be for these up-and-comers somehow, which is totally unrealistic, but whatever.
Like I said,
Yeah.
like they're also, besides, because they have like Netflix original stuff, which they are adding new studios, and actually a few studios directly in LA, which is unusual because of prices of LA right now, but still. And then they're adding their own studios, but they're also continuing to contract with other studios, like their Netflix original animes, not like the Castlevania kind of animes, but like the actual animes, which they are getting rights to, which I think one of the biggest ones I got recently was Eden. Let me see. Eden Zero. Is it Eden Zero?
I don't know.
I'm just Googling.
Nice.
I get names.
But
Yep, it is Eden Zero. Eden Zero. Because I just want to make sure, because like anime names often have the same vibe. So it's like they want to make sure I was correct about that. But yeah, but it is Eden Zero, which is Hiramasho's next thing after Fairy Tail. They get the rights to that, which will premiere eventually after it escapes Netflix jail.
Like, which I gotta say, as like a person who's just watching it for the first time. Meanwhile, I'm sure Derek over here has read the manga for it, since he told me about it. My God, I'm thankful for a show that actually talks about human and robot relations. It's like, it feels good to talk about stuff like this, even though they might be animatronic or robotic in nature, even if they're not born the same way that humans are. Just showcasing relationships like this, even with human and non-human alike, I think it just shows like the power of friendship in like a much more profound way than like how you would usually see it in like Hiro Mishima's like previous work. I'm just saying. I think I'm actually more suckered into this than I am with Fairy Tail, and that's kind of like a big thing right now. It's not like I like Fairy Tail's power system, but I don't know, maybe it's like the heart for this show is getting to me deeply. I'm loving it.
That's nice. That's how it's supposed to be.
No, it's just like I just hope like we might get some interesting like development, or maybe like say for like the power system, and if that happens, then I could definitely say it's above Fairy Tail. Then I'm not saying anything bad about Fairy Tail. I respect the work that the dub actors and the voice actors do for this. Like seriously, I even got like a wall scroll poster with like the signatures from the Walker couple who work for like a voice direction and such. So I already have my respects for them. So yeah, you just keep on doing what you do, Mishima. If this turns out to be even greater than Fairy Tail is, like in its peak points, then we might be looking at something that no one can debate for like an actually great like a shonen property. Little faults if any. So
yeah, the one thing I'm interested with this is how they're going to release it.
Yeah.
I'll get didn't mean to interrupt your day. I just mean just because this will in some way be an ongoing series, I guarantee it. But I have a feeling it's probably going to go the My Hero Academia way, where it has breaks, which that would be better fit into Netflix's all release at the same time schedule. But I'd be curious if they don't and just go with like the One Piece or traditional shonen formulas, like they continue releasing it, which would be very confusing with Netflix. But what were you going to say, Day?
Wait. Oh, sorry.
But I was just wanting to say that I really enjoy all of these new things that we have on Netflix, but there's just still something that's getting me back to you. For example, House Moving Castle, or like traditional animated from Miyazaki. I don't know. Like I really enjoy the new styles, but I also like really appreciate like when new shows are trying to make old styles work, as we have seen in some of the newer animated show. For example, Castlevania. maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just like something that I feel like, but yeah.
Well,
I
to an
definitely
extent, it might be trying to adjust to newer
yes.
styles, the way they,
Yes.
premiering for the first time feel
And
new. Heck, as
and I
Snow White
appreciate that.
probably felt new all the way back in the 30s when it
Yes.
premiered. I mean,
I still sometimes think some of it feels new, because I can watch some of his movies and still think like, wow, this looks like, even better than something that's animated today. And
there are
then
certain types of pretty that will always be pretty.
yes, that's pretty. So yeah, maybe I'm just alone here, but I think like Netflix could actually get even more out of it if they like, band together with all of the animators maybe. And I know like it doesn't matter because it's all going to be owned by Disney anyways, but yeah.
Our new House of Mouse overlords.
Sorry, but like, yeah, it like if you Google who is the king of animation, it says Walt Disney, which I don't agree on. Like Walt Disney is amazing, but I think like Miyazaki is the king of animation.
You can debate bests all day, but I mean,
yes.
like, as far as sheer reach, profit,
yes,
the result of what he created, all that. Yeah, it's
not
kind of
what
hard
I'm
to top
basing
what
it
Disney
on.
did.
Yes, that's fine. So maybe that's just my.
But when I said
like,
king, I also forgot to bring up, like, I'm mostly focusing on TV animation or streaming shows, which
Yeah.
because movies
But
gets more complicated.
That's what I'm saying, because like there's a lot of the shows, for example, Berserk, or like the new rendition of what is that called? The old show that they're revamping again. Also with vampires and stuff like that, and then of course Castlevania and all of this good stuff. Like I don't know if Netflix is already working together with some of the artists, but I think like that could be pretty cool to see. I just want to see what it could amp out to, but maybe it's me that has too big ideas for like.
Well, I will
think like Netflix could buy them, or yeah.
Cut more deals with them. I mean, they did do Mitchell's versus the Machines. That was
and then
released on Netflix, and that was amazing. But
yes.
I will say though, like, and I don't know how many. Honestly, more than anything, I think Netflix, like, I wouldn't mess with the formula too much. I kind of like that they're a little off the beaten path.
Not what I'm saying.
But I will say,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's. It kind of is, right? Because I'm saying, like, I kind of like them off the beaten path a little bit because we still have that other stuff. But I mean, things grow stagnant if you don't come up with new ways to push them forward.
That's why I wanted the artists to be a part of this, so they also have a spark to what's happening. Yeah.
Okay, but I will say though, what I was going to say though is that
Mami, tú sabes bien. Tú sabes bien, Mami.
Theater is
No hay algo para ser
moment, but
triste,
what I was going to say is, for all that they have enabled some small-time passion projects, they have missed a few as far as things that would have been an absolute pleasure to see featured on Netflix. Like they didn't get Wolf Walkers, they didn't get Wolf House. Netflix and Wolves, huh? What else? They didn't get. Well, you could probably I don't think they have that fifth Best Animated Movie 2020 nominee that I keep talking about, unless somebody cares to correct me on that. Unless that's just how little I've looked into that movie. But I mean.
I don't know.
Boy, what else was some of the biggest deals in animation? There were at least a couple more, like Netflix. Well, they're not just an animation streaming service, though. They are trying to come up with a pretty full scope, but just maybe worth noting that they have missed a few for off the beaten path animated movies were a big deal. They have missed at least a couple of those. And I really would have much preferred seeing them on Netflix as opposed to Apple Movies or whatever that is, or Shudder, which I still need to pick a good date to get my week free trial and see Wolf House and whatever else they have to offer there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the bulk of what I have to say about that.
Woo. So, what's next?
I don't know. This discussion's like I think also part of why Netflix was sort of admired, besides like just because of quality, but also Disney hasn't been doing a lot of animated shows as of late.
No, that's true.
I mean, there are exceptions because heck, we reacted to Star Versus and then Owl House, which was released, but those are really sort of except Disney's been sort of light on animated shows, even though apparently they seem to be trying to change that with their Disney Plus, but they're still setting up those shows like the
Who made a hell of a boss? Because that animation and drawing style, I don't think I've seen it before.
No, it's an independent person. It's
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Carlos actually is muted right now, so we can't say, but it's I can't remember her name. It's like Spindle Horse Productions is a team, but like I forget the artist her name, but like she's essentially an independent person who funded it herself, and like we brought up in that episode, yeah, she's sort of doing a lot, which again, I assume someone of Netflix level had to have approached her at some point and just offered her a contract she must have turned down, because I just find it would be like, if no one at Netflix at least put out the offer, I would have to like basically slap them in the face and say like, what the hell is wrong with you? I understand they can't get it because if she's profitable as she is and can do the work she does,
she doesn't want to give it to anybody else.
Yeah, if she doesn't want to give it up, if she can't get away with that, then by far they gotta go ahead with it. But if they at least didn't make an offer at this point, like I would be shocked.
Yeah, they probably did.
I know why Disney wouldn't make an offer on her right now, because
it's a little bit too R-rated for them. Like imagine that being bought by Disney and being, what is that, children-fied? That would be weird. Wouldn't that be weird?
Even her lighter shows like Zootopia would not fit Disney. So
I don't know about that. If you take out all of the, R-rated stuff,
but
I actually think that it could be, but then it becomes a whole other show.
Yeah, that's what
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to point out. Is like, like even Zootopia really would not fit. They would have to change a lot, and even then it would be like you're changing what the show is.
It's kind of unfortunate about that.
Dun, dun, dun.
So,
but like Netflix, like I said, continues. Like I said, rise where Disney is, and also it just sort of makes sense because I know people like say like animation's expensive. Yes, but sort of no, because when it comes to fantasy or sci-fi, comparing a well done live action show to an animated show is like animation's a lot cheaper because it really doesn't matter. Like animation.
Well, like it depends on how detailed you want it and how much time that you want to use on it, because time is money.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to make my own personal animations, and trust me, just 5 minutes is really hard work.
Oh no, it's not hard work, but I'm just saying like it's a very fixed rate. It's very predictable, like, and all that, which is like compared to like a show like like compare like the best, like biggest budgeted animated show to like the live action equivalent, which would be like Game of Thrones. Like the budget of that would be like a tenth of Game of Thrones, and like that's what I mean. Like Netflix, it costs money, especially if you want good animation, but it's a relatively good investment, especially in terms of anime, which you're really just paying for the distribution and like dubbing rights.
Now I want an animated version of Game of Thrones. Somebody
actually, I think you should look up, which you can find on YouTube still, at least if they had changed it, is The Game of Thrones, like the Blu-ray has like
Yeah, I've
special
seen
features.
that. I've seen like where they changed it into anime openings and stuff like that.
Where it
It's
talks about the
amazing.
houses and all that.
Yes, I
I was
want
gonna say,
that so
yeah,
bad.
that was awesome.
But I want full series, where it's like episodes or stuff like that is never going to happen. But never mind.
So
Just me and my wild ideas here.
okay. So yeah, so like I hope like they do like the anime release model like they've been doing for Pokemon recently for Netflix, in which like it's like a good 13 or 14 episodes like slices, in which like they split up in between. Like as soon as like they finish dubbing up and said, oh, and they not just for Pokemon, they also do it with Beyblade Burst, the Burst series, which yeah, I've been watching those.
That actually brings up a debate because it's sort of like the dub. Like someone, because I've seen a YouTube video that breaks it down, and there is seemingly logic to their choice to release everything at once, or at least in large, like 12 to 13 episode bunches. Because they compare like shows that are being simulcast and dubbed, eventually with Funimation, they've gotten behind with that, to shows that are just released in one big batch of Netflix. Is those shows that release in batches of Netflix, like they do very successfully in terms of like viewership, audience retention. And I think a part of what happens, as someone brought up, is like these shows, especially anime are tend to have one ongoing narrative. And they're just naturally better suited to binging all in one sitting or within like a week or 1 or 2 weeks, compared to like if it's an ongoing show. Like if you watch it traditionally, that's over like
a few weeks to
like
a month.
4 months. Like I forget the exact, like 12 or 13 weeks, and it's easy just to like get distracted and like fall off it. But when it's all released at once, you're significantly more likely to finish it. So that's actually another, like we complain about the simulcast release, but there actually is data showing that it is the better thing for Netflix to do, which is sort of surprising. And also, like I think it's going back to animation in general, like both anime and like Castlevania, is those shows are just a nice bingeable format, just because in the same way with like live action, like live action sort of short series like Game of Thrones or like The Witcher, where it is like a 10 episode or something like extended movie sort of thing for a season. Animation also generally fits that pretty well, which again, going unbudgeted, you can get a whole bunch of animated shows spread out and then released, and they fit that niche pretty well. Like they are very bingeable by their nature.
Oh shoot, that's right. Derek, I should probably mention this now, and I should have mentioned this in news, but this will be also very fitting for the Netflix discussion. As soon as like the rest of the episodes were released, Power Rangers is forever gonna move to Netflix.
Oh, okay.
No longer will it be airing on Nickelodeon.
That series has been bounced around by so many different people.
I mean, now the Hasbro era is just gonna be running on Netflix now.
Like, well, Hasbro era was running on Nickelodeon.
Actually, speaking of animation thing, that's another thing that's coming up is like, we have the new G5 anime My Little Pony thing coming out on Netflix this year too.
Yeah, like for like us Netflix subscribers, it's just like, did someone say ponies? We need to critique about ponies. We've been 2 years without ponies to the critique.
But, I think this goes back to my core argument, which is like I think Netflix has been doing streaming for a while, which gives them an moved. Oh, sorry, I was just like watching the feed, which moved, which made me worried that something happened. Anyway, what I was trying to say is like Netflix has been following the streaming information for a while. They have a lot of data on it, which gives them an edge over Disney, Amazon, and HBO Max. And I think they sort of figured out a while ago that like animation, both anime and also cartoons, they just fit the streaming format well. Like I said, they tend to be very bingeable. It's easy to get like a 10 like let's say and Netflix has changed the format. 8 to 12 episodes, 8 to 13 episode series in that range is for a season, which is usually about anime or cartoon or Netflix cartoon at least. That is that fits the binging format that tends to work well on streaming services. And like I said, you can get a whole bunch of animations produced at once. Like it takes a while to produce animations. It's like a very arduous project, but it's very easy to sort of schedule it out because, like I said, it is sort of predictable to a certain degree. It takes a while, but there's a certain degree of predictability to it. So you can slot out shows and like that just sort of fits the streaming war format. And I think Disney is also sort of catching on now, like besides just them being Disney, because they have a whole bunch of Disney Plus original shows. Like they just released the Bad Batch, and then like I said, they have I think they have both Big Hero 6 and Zootopia animation cartoons coming out soonish. Air quotes on the soonish.
Uh-huh. Oh, wait. Are we having like say like a continuation of the Big Hero 6 cartoon or a different one now?
I think it's a different one.
Dang it. I mean, okay, I love the first 2 seasons, but then season 3 dropped the ball by making it short.
Oh god, that's the one thing I hated for a while was like the short. I mean, yeah, like a lot of shows went for the short format. I think one of the ones was like basically after Steven Universe, which was sort of introduced the half episode format, and then some shows doubled down on that with a lot of shorts, which I just like that era.
That's
so funny. Yeah, it's just like it was a major disappointment, and thankfully that didn't happen to DuckTales. Just saying that. God. I mean, we did have a bit of a podcast for like 11 short bursts on YouTube, but then that was it. There's no more new content for DuckTales now. I'm sad. I didn't want the ride to end, but it's ended. And all I have to look forward to now is just the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Netflix movie coming in next year. For Rise of, you know? Like, because legitimately, I feel like I'm a big fan of it. Like, maybe even more so than the 2003 version. But then again, 2003 always has my heart for being my first exposure to the Turtles. And also for serious storytelling.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles, for being like the phenomenon of the 80s, that has kind of hung on pretty well since then. Like I'm sure we 90s kids will never truly understand, but they're still very much in the loop.
Like right now, you know the brony YouTuber Jaxblade?
No.
He's the guy who's about the muscles from the Bronies Reacts. The guy who's all about Fluttershy and Gohan.
How about that?
Yeah, like he basically did an hour and 49-minute retrospective on the entirety of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, saying which show is debatably better from a perspective of an actual person who's watched through all the series.
So what did he like?
In the end, it became a toss-up between the 2003 version and the 2012 version.
Okay.
So basically, the sort of like the Teen Titans-esque version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2003, but then the Nickelodeon 2012 CGI Turtles, because of the strong point about Splinter and the Shredder's backstories and motivations and characterization. Meanwhile, 2003 has a bit more of a stronger focal point in the main Turtles cast.
Boy, there are a lot of 80s and early 90s kids prone to get mad at that guy now.
Well, 80s and the Rise of fans.
Wait, what am I supposed to be angry at?
Some guy watched all the shows and said the later generation shows were the best, the 2003 and 2012 ones.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the new ones, so.
At least you're a good sport
Maybe.
then.
Well, like, it's the same thing with me and the Mortal Kombat thing. You have the right for your own opinions. Right, second.
You and your high morals. Such a sincere human being.
Of course.
Or such a moralsome human being, whatever the way to say that is. Such a good girl.
Yay!
In public.
No.
Ooh, that's some spice. But
You're spice, yeah. And everything nice.
So I think that's really about it for all of us saying stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I think we had a good time running through that. Through.
Yep, just going through, like I said, Netflix is still, like, I'll continue to look forward to what they're releasing, and I'm actually very curious because I know one of their projects they have, the anime original ones, where they actually are sort of financing and helping support, not just get the distributing rights, but also they are financing some anime, and one of which is like a Triggers show that's going to be about like the Cyberpunk game. So I'm very curious how that's going to look and feel.
Yeah, like, and also let's just hope for next year we finally get the book 4 for Dragon Prince.
Oh yes, definitely, because I want to be so upset with that right now if they just gave us a timeline of when they were going to release the damn thing.
I know. I want to know more. You've already confirmed that it's going to go up to book 7, so give us the book 4 details.
Isn't it always like this with a series that you really want to watch?
No, we've been waiting
patient.
No, we've been patient about it because of the COVID situation. It's just that, like, now they gotta at least let us know a little bit of a hint for like when they're gonna air it.
It's with me and Lucifer season 5. It's just like I have to wait.
Yeah, speaking of shows that keep getting tossed around places, is Lucifer. Yeah, going back to like I was saying, yeah, I think Dragon Punch sort of suffered because like the way I think it was production problems combined with COVID, basically in a bad combo where I felt, as I recall, I think season 1 was produced by itself, but seasons 2 and 3 were made, I think, together or nearly simultaneously. That's why they only had like I think it was 5 or 6 month gap between seasons. However, I think Netflix didn't approve of a 4th or plus season like until after right near the release of season 3, and then they didn't approve season 4 until then. I think that's where they're trying in negotiations to get more than season 4. I was eventually got like season 7, or was it 6? Was it 6 or 7 seasons they have negotiated? Carlos?
What?
Was it 6 or 7 seasons they have for Dragon Prince?
7 seasons.
It is 7.
Like they're they're trying to finish it up in 7 seasons, you know.
All right. So I think season 3 ended, and then in negotiations they were trying to negotiate for a contract for up to 7 7 seasons, and I think that's why there was no ongoing production after season 3 ended. So basically, they got what they wanted. However, right when they're probably about to begin the production, COVID lockdowns hit.
Yes.
So eventually, I feel when Dragon Prince returns, which hopefully might actually be by the end of the year, because I'm feeling they had some production done or ideas, scripts ready for season 4. So if it begins again, they will probably go back to just having like multi-production work. So season 5 will probably come out within like 6 months, plus or minus a month, 1 or 2 months after season 4 ends. So I feel it will be back consistency. But yeah, we all love that show. and the animation is getting better with it, which
That sounds good. Yeah.
Hey, well, marathon over, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Yep. I guess see y'all in June and
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Ciao.
bye.
Take care.
People.
Mm.